Welcome to Stampede Your Business. Stampede.
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 Stampede. Stampede Your Business.
Welcome to the show, Stampede Your Business. We are doing something today that is very interesting. Oh, I'm your host, Bobby Glenn James.
Hi, Bobby.
Along with the most fantabulous Brett Rich in the house. Brett Rich.
That's me.
In the house.
Yeah, in the house.
We are going to just, so as you know, if you've come along with us on this podcast, this little journey that we've had, we actually have been using a blueprint or
an outline
of what we've learned in the beginning. We talked about there's a bunch of different books that Brett kind of put this together, and we've kind of workflowed out Stampede digital systems and are kind of working this. We're at the very kind of the tail end of it, and we're kind of at a loss for, or at least I'm at a loss of understanding completely what this is. So we're going to talk about it and see if we can kind of hone in on what this is all from E-Myth, right? The book E-Myth.
Yeah, this piece is all from E-Myth. And so E-Myth, so let me just talk about the books that have gone into this outline for a minute. There are 3 books that go into this outline. The first one was E-Myth. The next one was Built to Sell, and the last one was Profit First. And we haven't even gotten into the Profit First yet because, as we disclosed last time, Stampede has made $8,000, and we really want to start talking about it when we get into the money that matters. So, but the money that matters. That's right. So we have Built to Sell, and Built to Sell is all about the product and organizing the business so that you have a sellable business, so that you have something worth something. The E-Myth, on the other hand, E-Myth is all about your management systems. How do you set up your systems within your business? And so at this point we're talking about managing people, so the systems that manage people. And that's what today is all about, is the systems that manage people.
Gamification.
And E-Myth recommends
to create it
to do it as a game. Yep,
like
make a game. So you
manage your people by getting them to play a game.
That's right. Now, I've studied gamification, and gamification is fun. It is such a fun thing that you can do. However, I studied it more along the lines of how do you present your business to a potential client? How do you keep clients engaged using gamification? So I got really excited about this when I came across that, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. This is awesome. We can gamify our business and do that for employees. And then as you and I were going over the outline together and reading the information that I had pulled from the E-Myth, we both kind of scratching our heads.
What is this?
what is this thing? What is he talking about here?
What I don't understand the game part. I understand all the rules. It's like somebody, you know how you first get a board game and you just don't have a clue. So somebody has to read the directions.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You just don't know. The title doesn't tell you too much.
No.
You just don't know if it's going to be fun. And in the beginning, it's actually not, because you're trying to learn how to play the game.
Well, the worst is when those directions are not clear.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what is this game? I think I get it. I'm not sure if I'm playing it right, but we're going to go ahead with it because the night is not young anymore.
Well,
we spent all our time setting up.
You may get lucky, and there may be one person there that's played that game. So they're trying to tell you, oh, yeah, this is easy. It's an easy game. Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out really quick. We'll just start playing it, and it's miserable there at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that. Like we've opened the box, and I don't have a clue what this game is about. Mm-hmm. And now we're reading rules of something that we don't understand.
Right. And here's the thing. What I understand of the pieces of this outline is not that these are the game rules.
Right.
These are the rules on what to do and what not to do when you're creating your game.
And the reason they're vague, and I get this, the reason it's vague is because the game can look like anything.
Yeah.
Your business
really
can
could.
create whatever you want. It just needs to follow some prerequisites. And that's my problem, I guess, because the meat of the game isn't here. It doesn't tell you the meat of the game,
it's
but
not there at all.
that's because you're supposed to figure that out with your business.
Yep, that's right.
And so I say we just jump in and kind of talk about it. So manage your people with game systems. That's the title of this piece.
And you know what I love just thinking about this, and you and I kind of, as we were scratching our heads about this, we touched on it a little bit, is how we talked about how we wanted to create an affiliate program for our sales sites, and games. A game process or gamification has already existed for a long time with affiliate type programs, MLMs, and all that. They have
to
different,
do better.
They have different incentives. They give you prizes, sometimes cash prizes, sometimes trips, sometimes a new car.
You can become a diamond level,
black
diamond
so
level.
Then you have your level up, and your leveling up power, and all that good stuff. It can keep you incented and excited about working the business and growing with the business. So we might come back and if we have some time, we might come back and explore some gamification that's already existed out there, but we're just still trying to figure out what all this is that we're reading.
Yes. Yeah. So make sure they understand the idea behind the work that you're asking them to do. That's interesting. How does that deal with creating a game?
I see it's really all about the idea behind the work.
So is this like when you get a new employee and you give them the user's manual, the employee user manual?
Well,
that doesn't sound fun.
No, I don't see this.
They had that
as
at Pizza Hut when I was a kid.
The employee user's manual is over more of the rules of the game. This is more how when you had that job and they would pay you $100 if you could recite the message, the thing, the purpose of the business. I can't think of the term. Oh my gosh,
you're you're immigrant. No, you're immigration. No, you're. Oh my gosh!
It's your image.
Imagine all the people living in harmony.
And that's the big idea, people, so that we can all live in harmony.
Mission statement. I knew if I sang some John, it would come to me.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is more about the mission statement, understanding the mission statement. What's the big idea behind your business? Why do we even care that you are following the rules of engagement? Why do we care? That's what this is about, I think, this bullet.
So there was an idea behind the work that was more important than the work itself.
Yeah, and with Stampede, the idea is to develop small businesses,
develop them and make them
super successful.
Help them become successful.
Yeah.
Yes, if your idea is a positive one, your business will reflect that optimism.
Yeah, so if your idea is not a positive one, then, my idea is to get rid of all of the oil spills, then I might become a little bit more tedious in the way that I follow my game. But if my idea is to save the whales,
that's optimism.
Then I've got an optimistic idea.
And Stampede is everything we do is to improve business.
Everything we do is to improve
everything
business.
We do.
Absolutely.
Now it says make it a game. So
now make it a game.
Understand. Now you've created basically your mission statement, what your business stands for, why you want to be a part of, or why anybody would want to be a part of that business. Now create that into a game for employees.
Yep. And the first bullet under make it a game is it has to be real. You have to mean it. And what this really comes back to is the idea behind the work that you're asking them to do. This has to be real. So I love that story where you were you weren't actually offered, but employees on the floor in general were offered money if they could repeat the mission statement. But what did it feel like to you?
Bribery.
It felt meaningless.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And maybe it meant something to the business owners. Maybe it was important, but to you, it felt meaningless. And that was something that I really took home from that episode and realized, this really needs to be important.
Real. And it needs to be important to everybody. Yes. And you have to mean it. I think that is the key there, what it says. You have to mean it.
And the game is a measure of you.
What does that mean? Well, measure of you who?
The game is the business, right?
Okay. So
really,
it's a measure of you, meaning a measure of the business.
And it's a measure of whether or not you are conveying the idea behind the work that you do. I always look at employers that I've had, and it's funny because they'll say, we care about this, we care about that, you need to care about the customers, and blah, 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 blah. But then you turn around and look at the metrics, and none of the metrics reflect the message that they're telling you. And you say, wait a minute, you care about all these things. How do these metrics connect? And they couldn't explain it. They didn't understand. They just said, well, this is just what you need to do so that we can stay in business. But this is what we really care about. And so if you really care about them and you do this and that, well, I'll tell you what, I was caring about them, and I was working on my metrics, but I wasn't focused 100% on my metrics. And guess what? The person that was focused 100% on the metrics and didn't care, they got promoted. Mm. And I had to learn what really mattered to the business in order to get promoted. And that's really kind of a frustrating place to be in.
It kind of adds to this piece right here. How you act in the game establishes how you will be regarded by other players.
Yeah. So are you focusing on the message, or are you focusing on the metrics? And assuming that they're not exactly aligned, because they should be exactly aligned, or at least they should be explainably aligned, right?
Right.
But even if your employees don't really fully understand, what's more important to you as the business owner? Are they following your purpose, or are they following your metrics? What's the most important thing? And how do people view you because you're doing one or the other?
Yes.
So important.
So important. Okay, you got to have logic. Got to have logic in the game. The game must make sense. Is that what we're saying here with logic?
Well, if you look at the sub-bullet here, it says what most people need is a place of community that has purpose, order, and meaning. I would say that this is more the logic of why we create the game in the first place. Uh-huh. What is the logic behind the points and the scores and the metrics and the things that you're measuring, the measurables? What's the point behind the measurables?
Purpose, order, and meaning.
As a game, it gives us, as employees and as a business, it gives us purpose, it gives us order, and
starting to make a little bit of sense to me.
And if your business is built around the idea, or if your game is built around the idea behind the work, then it also has meaning.
I like it. Very interesting. Okay, so logic. It needs to make sense. It needs to have purpose, order, meaning. I get it. Rules of the game. Here it is. The rules of the game.
This is where it gets hazy.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
There's a lot of good stuff embedded in here, but there's some stuff that's just like high level. Yeah. And let me clarify. When it says rules of the game, we're not talking about your game rules. Right. It's about the rules of creating the game. This is the rules of how you should and should not create your game.
Not how to play it and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But how it should be created and the thought around how it should be created.
Exactly.
First piece, never figure out what you want your people to do and then try to create a game out of it. First rule, which is interesting. What does that mean to you?
Well, it's like with your kids, you want them to clean their room. So you say, "Oh, hey, let's see who can get the most stuff picked up, the most items that you pick up in the room." Well, that might work a few times, and it might incentivize some people. But I have a son that looks at me and says, "So you're really just wanting me to work?" And he just stares at me and stares me down when I try to make a game out of do your job.
So what would be the other way of doing this? If you don't never figure out what you want your people to do and then try to create a game out of it, how do you create a game out of it? You figure out I'm at a loss.
Well, what you want them to do is the metrics. It's how you measure their success, but it's not the gameplay. So
interesting.
So the game. So for example, in a sales environment, if I wanted to create a game, I want you to get a lot of sales. Let's say I want you to get 10 sales a week.
10 sales a week.
And that's the goal. That's what we're focused on right now.
Great.
But the game is not about getting 10 sales. It's about
It's about what? It's not about getting 10 sales. It's about something different than that.
It's about connecting with other people or let's say
making a connection with potential.
Yeah, so every connection. So instead of being like, okay, I'm going to make 10 connections and out of those 10 connections, I'm going to get one sale. Maybe it's, I made a connection with somebody. Yeah, me. Right. And we celebrate the fact that you made a connection with somebody because all of a sudden you've got something that you can celebrate for. That's part of the game. We are making rules to give you a reason to celebrate for stuff that you aren't even accomplishing yet, or not accomplishing, but for stuff that's not what we want you to accomplish yet.
So could this mean, because it says never figure out what you want your people to do and then try to create a game out of it, does it mean you try and figure out what you want your business to do and try and figure out a game around that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? If you say this is the purpose of the business, now how do we create a game around the purpose of the business, not around the job of the individual people?
Yeah.
Does that make, I'm just throwing that out there. Just as I read it several times over and over again, it started to, maybe it's about making the game of the end result, not for individual people that do individual work.
It could be. Well, you could make an overall arching game, and you can make an individual game for individual departments.
But as long as that individual piece connects with the end result of the game. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that
one's really tough for me.
I think that's probably the toughest one.
Yeah.
The toughest rule of them all, because really you have to think outside of your business. What you don't want your game to do, and I think that's what this is coming down to, is what you don't want your game to do is to look like you are a micromanager.
Yeah.
That you created a system to micromanage people, but that you're giving them an opportunity to be more and greater than they are.
Yeah. I like this next one. Never create a game for your people when you're unwilling to play yourself. That anytime that you don't put yourself in your employees' position, you're cruising for them not to either respect you or think that you care about them.
Yeah.
I just why would you do this and not be a part of it yourself? It's just, that's beyond me, or that's below me or something. I never could figure that. There are people out there that are like that, especially bosses that think that, they are better than the underlings, and that usually never goes over well.
Well, I spent 2 years of my life teaching people about church and the gospel of Jesus Christ and all that. And part of what I was doing involved a lot of life-changing decisions. And one of the things that I taught was the importance of keeping your body clean. And so people that smoked, they had a habit of smoking. And I spent a lot of time trying to convince people. I mean, really, I spent a lot of time trying to convince people to stop smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized at one point that I was not a very good advocate for stop smoking. I was a good advocate for not starting in the first place, but I wasn't a good advocate for stop smoking. And I realized the reason for that was because I wasn't willing to stop smoking myself. I wasn't smoking. I wasn't a smoker.
But you'd never done it.
But I'd never done it. So I wasn't willing to go through something that was that hard yet in my life. I'd never been through something that was that hard. And so I made a decision that I would never ask people to do something that I was not willing to do. Well, how does that translate? In this case, with the smoking, what I had to do was give up bad habits. I had to find a habit that was destructive for me and give it up. Mm-hmm. And I had to find something that was really hard to give up and quit. And so, in my case, that habit was sleeping in and not exercising. So I replaced it was it was the best I could do. I mean, really, it was the best that I could do. But I forced myself to really start creating good habits that were healthy for me and good for me, because I didn't want to come across as I know better than you, even though I've never been through what you're going through.
Yeah. No, I get it. All right, let's keep going. Make sure there are specific ways of winning the game without ending it. I like that. So, and I like that because I get it. If you had employees and they won the game, then they're done, right?
They're done.
And they're done. Thanks for playing. Yeah. We got to go find a new employee now.
We need a new challenge.
But they got to have winners. You got to have winners. You got to have people to celebrate. There's got to be time to celebrate, and then move on to the next goal and the next cool thing. So I love it. Change the game from time to time. The tactics, not the strategy. I'm not clear on that.
So here's the thing about games is when you play the same game over and 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 over again, it gets boring. And all of a sudden it becomes a job. And it's not a game. It's not exciting. So what you need to do is you need to switch it up every once in a while and say, okay, so here and this is a poor example, but it's at least an example.
At least it's an example.
Here are your metrics that we expect you to do. Now you've been working on those metrics. Now we're going to actually focus on these metrics instead of those ones.
Ooh. So now instead of doing this, you're gonna want to get this many things.
That's right, because they've been focusing on this, and they've been creating habits around these metrics, and so
change it
up. The
up.
goal is that they keep those habits, and they maintain that skill while adding more skills and
keep it interesting,
changing
for
focus.
them.
And so by changing the focus, it keeps it interesting, and they have a lot more fun coming into work.
I like this one. Never expect the game to be self-sustaining. People need to be reminded of it constantly. Interesting. If a game is fun, doesn't it just you keep going with it? But no, I guess you do have to be reminded, hey, this is...
Well, think about how many sporting events you've ever been to. What do? They're constantly reminding you that there's a game being played on the field.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And when the game's not being played, they're reminding you that the game is not being played and that the game's going to start back up again.
Yes.
So every timeout, every halftime, every change of quarter, any time that your focus should not be on the players themselves, and even then they still have cheerleaders and people that are reminding you that there's a game going on, and they do events and they do activities and they do stunts.
True.
So even in a sporting event that's only going to last a couple hours, you're constantly being reminded that there's a game going on that you probably paid to see.
Yeah, I love it. The game has to make sense. It has to make sense, Brett.
Yeah.
You
Totally.
could throw things out there and say, hey, go do this metric or that metric. And if it doesn't make sense, then it's going to be hard to keep it going, or even you're not going to have people doing it. I know I've been there where it's like, well, we're supposed to do this, but that's dumb. So we don't do that.
Nobody really cares about that.
Yeah, nobody really cares about that. So it's very easy. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
It needs to have a purpose and a direction and a reason for it. The game needs to be fun from time. Fun from time
to time. That's that. There's
the game needs to be fun from time to time.
Yes, from time to time. That's what that's supposed to say.
Time is on my side. So it doesn't have to be fun all the time, huh? Shouldn't it be fun all the time, constantly, every second?
No. Do not make your game fun all the time. You'll ruin yourself and you'll ruin your business. You'll bore your employees.
Everybody dances.
You'll bore
we
your
all
employees.
dance in our cubicles every day, all day. No job, no work will get done. Of course, that would make no sense. So we would have broken the rule above it.
Broken the rule above it. So here's the thing about the game needs to be fun from time to time. Is people don't go to work to have fun.
What? I do.
They go play to have fun.
What?
They go hang with their friends to have fun. They go spend time with family to have fun. They go off by themselves to have fun.
I work
They
harder
come
on
to
the
work.
weekends.
People come to work for a challenge.
For
Purpose.
Challenge. Purpose.
And challenges and purposes are not fun. Fighting that dragon, slaying the dragon is not fun.
Yes, it is. If you ever played D&D, it totally is fun to fight the dragon.
Yeah, but you're not the actual knight getting the fire blown at your face. That's the difference.
Feels like it if you roll the wrong dice.
Yeah. Well, you're not in the thick of it. I mean, you are, but there's a challenge there. Well, and sometimes you get so focused on the challenge, you forget that you're having fun.
Yeah.
Because you're so busy trying to reach that
it's like
goal.
People that climb Mount Everest, I can't imagine that that's much fun. But they do it. And I think when they're done, they're like, wow, I accomplished this really cool thing. Yeah, it's like, you didn't die. That's pretty good. That's awesome.
But if it's all about the challenge, then people are going to get burned out too. They're going to get worn out, burned out, and they're not going to be interested
Very true.
in doing this, playing this.
This
game.
last piece of the rules is if you can't think of a good game, then steal one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby.
The best way to do things is to steal them.
It is.
It
is.
You know, this podcast does not promote stealing of any kind. It's just saying that you take it for your own and change it so it doesn't look like somebody else's, even though it is.
That's right. It. So you and I have both been reading Innovation Stack.
Yes.
And one of the things that he talks about in Innovation Stack is how success is created. We're copycats. Our existence is a copycat. I mean, my DNA did not come from nothing. It came from two sets of DNA that are very similar to my DNA. And when you combine them together in a certain way, you get me.
Me. You.
And me, I am the greatest thing that could possibly come out of that DNA.
Boom.
Because I am the mutation, the improvement. I am the better version, and my children are better than me, and so forth, and so on and so forth. Hopefully, right? That's the expectation. Mm-hmm. But we're copycats. We learn how to walk and talk by copying, by copying other people, and we learn how to be successful by copying other successful people.
Everybody does it, people. Everybody does it.
So we were talking about...
You make your own innovation.
So we were talking about our affiliate program. We mentioned that, and how a lot of affiliate programs and MLMs, they already have game-like qualities that we could steal from.
Right.
We steal the game-like qualities.
We do not. Podcast does not promote stealing of any kind. You just take it and make it your own and make it not look like theirs. There you go. Disclaimer, lawyers told us to do that.
They sure did. I was just meeting with my lawyer the other day, and he was like,
make sure you don't say anything.
Make sure you don't say anything. And if you do, disclaimer.
Just do a disclaimer.
Do a disclaimer.
So we're kind of out of time, but we've got this last piece. Do we want to throw down and shoot through this, or do we want to save this for next time? Manage your people with game systems.
You know what?
Could we make this a whole episode?
I think we could. We
Yeah,
can.
I think we can too. I think this
I think this is where it gets interesting and where we actually can talk about games.
How we're doing it. All right.
Yeah.
Folks, you've been listening to Stampede Your Business. A disclaimer, we do not promote stealing of any kind. Just take it for your own and make it look a little different.
Learn, copy, and improve.
There you go. All right, folks, we'll see you next time. This is Stampede Your Business. Stampede.
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 Stampede your business.